Going live. We're live. This is it. This is happening. This is a big deal. Where did our graphic go? Why would that disappear? Why can't things just be nice and work? I probably moved it myself. Let's be honest. Good morning, Groovy Movie. Okay. So that looks like it's working. Okay. Get settled. Might have to have a butterscotch candy. Butterscotch candy. There we go. But everything looks like it's working. It's a cool day, so my window's open, so you can probably hear those airplanes pretty loud and clear. Okay. So, Groovy, do you know what Pinball Quest is? This was a game that I grew up with. But obviously I love, like, pinball games. I always liked pinball games. But this one's a unique one. Because right here, it has a pinball RPG. It's almost like Final Fantasy mixed with a pinball game. It's weird. But we'll play just the regular pinball games first, and then we'll get to the RPG mode. These aren't really anything special. I just, if we're playing the game, we gotta play the whole game. So obviously, like, 50s sock hop style. Captain, welcome. Of the 3 regular pinball games, this is kind of middle of the road. The circus one is my favorite. I really like that one. Then this one, and then the golf one is basically a nightmare. Did you like the Black Label pinball? It was okay. I'll say, the NES wasn't necessarily built for pinball. The physics are, it's definitely a hard system to program physics in. But I think pinball is pretty good. I like this game for all its, faults. It's not a fantastic game or anything by any stretch. And so each of these boards will have like a little mini game. Like this one has that like sort of shooting pool kind of mini game. Just gets you more points. Nothing super exciting. I actually didn't really think about the fact that I kind of just wanted to show these boards quickly, but I might actually do well in them, and we'll be playing them for a little while. I'll tell you what, though, when we get to the golf pinball board, we will not be spending very much time on that one, because I suck at that one. Blew it! You blew it! I'm gonna dunk it. This is basically this board. There's literally nothing else to see. So that's Pop Pop. Now we'll play some Viva Golf, where I won't even have to pretend to suck at it. See, here's the thing that's lame about this one. I love the visual style. I think it's really got a lot of character. It's just a really poorly set up game board more than anything else. Oops. I didn't actually try to do that. You just get tons of like whatever you'd call it, gutter balls, where it like goes right down the middle and there's nothing you can do to stop it. It's not real. It's just a poorly designed board more than anything else. And I can't remember if I hit all of these guys. Then I have to get back up top. But it's really hard to get back, and then it just gutters. But again, it looks great. I like, if this had been a little more I don't know, if the boards had been a little more thoughtfully designed, I think this would be one of the greatest pinball games of this era for sure. Because it's got kind of everything else going for it, and look at that. Like, there's just nothing you can do to stop that. Now, Circus is the one I used to play the most as a kid. There's a dive bar in Seattle called Shorty's. It's a clown-themed pinball dive bar. The tables you sit at are old pinball machines that are lit up, so basically you're drinking beer on a pinball. That's cool. I don't like the clown theme. I feel like this board is kind of the most traditionally designed. I think it's probably the best designed board in the game. And it has a really cool, if we can get to the mini game, it has a really cool mini game. Ah! Thank God it's got that middle bumper. This is probably like the easiest board too, and that's probably also why I like it. There's not a ton of cheap death, you know? Oh yeah, we're making buku points now. Oh, baby. Ah. We gotta get back in that slot machine so we can open up the mini game. Oh, we might do. Nope. Negative. I used to be really good at getting into the slot machine this way. The back end. But it's been a long time. Reminds me of a PC game you played as a kid. I wonder if it'd be the same version of pinball games made by... It's possible. There we go. This is made by Jalico. So it wouldn't surprise me if they made more. This one's kind of a specific one, which we'll get to after this board, which is really kind of like the main unique selling point of this game, which is that the main game is actually an RPG. It's a RPG that plays out on a pinball world. It's hard to explain, but you'll see what I mean when we keep playing here. Once we get, I'm just showing. It's got these normal pinball boards. Come on, baby. I can't remember what we need to open the. It might be the gold. To open the minigame. But yeah, it's a unique game. It's not a great game. It's a game I played a lot as a kid. But yeah, once we get into the RPG, it's weird. Come on. Oh my god. That was cheap. Usually on this board you can avoid that kind of cheapness. Oh my god. Please don't blow this. Get into that minigame. Oh no, don't blow it. Yes, we did it. Yeah, God, what was that pinball game called? The Windows 95. That game was awesome. My dad was really good at that game. I remember... Okay, so this is the mini game. And you have to, like, group... You have to basically group animals. It's weird. Oh, we did it. We done did it now. We hit the lady. You can't hit the lady. But basically you have to, like, hit groups of animals, and when you get enough of them, their cage goes away. Yeah, it was Space something. Space Adventure. Space Cadet, something like that. But I remember, you know, whatever it was, like, I was really proud. I had a really good round in that game, and I had, like, 4 million points or something. And it was, like, by far the best game I'd ever had. And then, I went, like, I had to use my dad's computer for something. And it's like, all he did was play that game. He just loved that game. You just hear the noises coming from his office all the time. And he, I was on his computer for something, and either I loaded that up or it was already up, and his, like, high score was whatever I had. He had like 100 times my high score, and like consistently, like his high scoreboard, or maybe there was just the one high score. I don't remember, but I just remember like his score was insane, and I asked him about it, and I said, like, how are you so good? Like, how do you get that many points? Like, there must be a secret, there must be a mini game. And he went, well, all I do is I just try not to let the ball drop down. That was his advice. It was like, if you asked a baseball player, like, how do you get better at baseball? And his advice was, well, I don't know, just, you know, hit the ball more often and run faster and be better at baseball. Like that was basically his advice was, I don't know, just be better at pinball. Okay, so here is the Pinball Quest RPG mode. So you can see some of the characters are like little metal ball characters. Little trolls have stolen some sort of princess, some sort of maiden. And now we're in, you'll see, a world, a pinball world. And once again, not an amazing game, but it's just a game that I liked a lot as a kid. And I'll say this too, I've never beaten it, so I kind of want... What I like about doing these live streams is it sort of forces me to buckle down on some of these games that I would hit, I would sort of plateau as a kid on, and then get frustrated and never kind of push through. I've been waiting for you. You look like you're really on the ball, Chuckle. I need your help to save the princess. The princess has been kidnapped and is being held captive further north in the castle. Destroy the monsters that get in your way and increase your attack strength. I'm sorry I can't give you more help. I used to be a soldier in the king's army, but now I'm just a spirit walking the earth. Thank you. Oh. Uh-oh, you didn't complete your quest. We're doing it. Sorry, Ball. The princess is in another castle, to the north. Yeah, I don't know what I suppose, you know, parents, at least for people of our age, our parents probably, you know, they grew up with pinball. That was like their... You know, that was their era, so, you know, I suppose they do have more of an instinctive touch when it comes to pinball machines. Even video game pinball. Now, see, come on. Like, how are you supposed to not like this game? It's pinball, but you're, like, attacking monsters. I always thought this game was cool. I believe I do get points for smashing the headstones and stuff. I am going to have to farm points for quite a while. In a couple of these early levels, I think that's one of the keys to, as a kid, why like I never was super good is I was never treating it like an RPG, and obviously with an RPG you do need to grind for experience, some amount, and I think that is a key piece of this game as well that I had overlooked. Alright, I'm coming up to fight you. You know what I did last night was some friends got together to watch scary movies, and we ended up watching a classic and a new horror movie. And it was actually kind of like, I almost think that's how we should start watching some of these movies, is watch like an example from back in the day, and then watch like a current day example. But we watched there's the key. We watched the original Nightmare on Elm Street, which will always be one of my all-time favorites, and I think is just so good. And I'll say this too, because the person's house we were at, they got our shops. We've got 5,000 gold. That's not going to be enough for anything I want. So again, you purchase like pinball table kind of stuff, better stoppers or stoppers. See, I'm gonna want to grind for a while and get the permanent stopper. I think I'm not gonna waste money on things that aren't gonna last. So yeah, I think we'll for sure grind for the permanent stopper. But the person's house we were watching the movies at, I'm pretty sure he has his surround sound like installed backwards, or just hooked up backwards, because I noticed. Oh, come on. I noticed that a lot of... That's alright, we gotta grind anyway. I noticed that when we were watching the movie, anytime the audio was supposed to be in the back, it was in the front, and vice versa. Which was weird, except for when, like, during, like, kind of action-y scenes, the music would push to the front, and the dialogue would push to the back. Which, for people who haven't really watched the movie a million times like I have, was probably irritating, but for me, it was cool because I have not really noticed before last night how good the Nightmare on Elm Street soundtrack is. Like, we all know, like, if you're a fan, you know the kind of the like that haunting little instrumental that, like, almost like a music box kind of thing that they use in the first one, and I can't remember if it gets used in the third. I know they use it in New Nightmare. But, like, in the action scenes, it's all, like, 80s synth. And, like, I don't think of that movie as having, like, a synthy soundtrack, but it totally does. And it's really good. So it's like, it's just one more reason why that movie rocks. I don't know if I get more money for attacking these guys over and over again. I'm not entirely sure how to grind in this game. We'll see. We'll kill him again. Or try to. I'm worried I might accidentally grab that key up there. Yes! We'll see where I'm at for points. For poinsettias. Okay, so we definitely made we were definitely getting points for killing the skeletons. So we're just doing anything and everything that'll get us points. But yeah, so we watched Nightmare on Elm Street, and, you know, some people understood that it's amazing, and other people can't get past certain aspects of, you know, an old movie. Like, if the effects are kind of lame, or the acting is a little off, or, you know, that kind of stuff. Some people just can't deal with that. The wet dream waterbed, the Super Freddy, the Jaws reference on the beach. Wait, what? I'd like to take a... Oh, okay. I missed the first comment. I'd like to take a look at the first one. I remember catching the sequels and finding they looked more like comedies. Yes. Watch the first one. As those movies go on, they become... I think the dream element starts to lend itself more to like gags, and that it starts to make it silly. And that, and yeah, they definitely, the quality dips. As a franchise, I still love the franchise, but if you want like a real horror movie, the first one is by far the best. And then you get into, I think 2 has its own merits. I like 2. 3 is probably the best, but you have to watch the first to understand, like, to really appreciate the third, because 1 and 3 are very tightly linked. But 3 is kind of the one that gets really creative with the dreams before it turns into full silly kind of parody. When Freddy starts turning into like a clown is when the quality is certainly starting to dip, and it's relying on that a lot more. The first movie, Freddy is straight up terrifying because he's creepy and weird, and it's messed up. Like in the first one, Freddy is just straight up a fully just crazy person coming for you. Like he plays it like a crazy hobo, I don't know how to describe it. It's a very different performance in that one than any other. He's much more he comes across as much less calculated. He comes across like just crazy. Oh. Got the first one in the bubble case for Christmas. Love that one. Yeah. Groovy's only seen the original Nightmare on Elm Street. You haven't watched any other Nightmare on Elm Street? Wow. And no, Cap, like obviously horror, like comedy mixed in is like a huge part of horror. But it's more that they became completely, well, first of all, the character did change because he wasn't a clown character. Oh my god. He wasn't this clown character in the beginning. It was the first movie, and the first movie has moments of humor and funny lines in it. And I think that's what happens with horror, or with sequels. It's like if this movie had a couple funny little lines, had a couple chuckle moments, well, the sequel's going to have a couple more chuckle moments, and they're going to be a little bit more overtly comedy. And then the next sequel is going to compound on top of that, and the character is going to become a more exaggerated version of what they were originally. And then, you get 6 movies in, and it is so far away from what it started as. But the first movie's really kind of a masterpiece in a lot of ways. It's not... Oh, good. I was going to say, Groovy, it seemed weird that you would only have watched the first. But yeah, they're again, I will happily watch any Nightmare on Elm Street. And I do like all of them, but like 4, 5, and 6. Well, 4 and 5 especially are just very blah. They have interesting moments, but they go too far. Ooh, we're starting to get to the permanent stopper. We're gonna have the game beat by the time we get enough points for any of this stuff. Ah. Yeah, Dream Warriors is my favorite. I think it's pretty universally considered the best. I'd like to catch the last Nightmare. Was it? It looks like they go meta. Yeah, we at least here in America, it's called New Nightmare. Wes Craven's New Nightmare. So it sort of exists outside of the reality of, or it definitely exists outside the reality of the movies, but it also, depending on how you want to count it, it sort of exists outside the franchise a little bit. You know, because they did Freddy's Dead, and then they did New Nightmare. But I like New Nightmare a lot. Although they give him a new glove in that movie, and the new glove sucks. I will say that. That is the biggest down. That movie's again, it's almost, for what it is, a pretty perfect movie. But his new, like, organic primal glove is horrible. Man it. Don't ask how, but I thought you were talking about Nightmare Before Christmas. Well, that is a good movie. Huh. Yeah, I don't know how you thought that, though. Come on, I gotta get that little guy. Dang it. Man it. Oh, no! I didn't know that could happen. Good Lord! Still don't have enough for that permanent stopper. No, there is not a Nightmare Before Christmas 2. Oh, but I'll say this. First of all, I'm gonna open up some Juju fish. So we watched Nightmare on Elm Street, which is probably one of the, not just one of the best horror movies, but I think if you're going to point at like why 80s horror was special, Nightmare on Elm Street is one of the reasons. I think it's Nightmare on Elm Street, Return of the Living Dead. But come on. What's funny is, like, I don't even think about I didn't until last night. I didn't really even think about Nightmare on Elm Street as like an '80s horror movie because to me it's so timeless. You know. Did you ever watch the doc about how Wes Craven? Yeah, I did. I have the. I have the Nightmare on Elm Street DVD box set from back in the day, from 20 years ago. And this actually has in it this awesome. It's got the 7 movies, and then it also has this Nightmare Series Encyclopedia, which is just special features. And I'm sure all of this stuff is on like the Blu-rays and all that kind of stuff. But you can just go through movie by movie and watch all these interviews and all these behind the scenes things. Super cool box set. And I bought this from Best Buy when it was brand new. But yeah, it has a lot of really interesting interviews with Wes Craven about where the concept came from, and you know, he was such an interesting guy. It's funny how like a guy that makes horror movies, you know, about a guy with you know, knives for you know, a knife glove that just kills teenagers. It's like, it's interesting how kind of intellectually he approached the concept and everything. It was interesting. Yeah, well, he saw a guy as a kid that looked like Freddy. And he said it was an old man who enjoyed scaring the shit out of a kid. And that was sort of like the basic idea behind Freddy was someone who enjoys that. And then there was like he read articles about teenagers who were having weeks of nightmares and then would just drop dead. And there was like 3 cases of it, something like that, and they never really I don't think they ever solved what the hell happened, but these kids would have these horrific nightmares and say someone was coming to get them. And then, you know, after weeks of nightmares, and then the kids these teenagers were like hiding pots of coffee in their closet, and they were like doing everything they could to stay awake. And they would stay up for a week, and then they would finally like break down, like they couldn't do it anymore, and they would fall asleep, and then they would seemingly have like a horrific night terror, and then they would just drop dead, and they would be dead. And that really happened. And so he read that in the newspaper, and it was fascinating. Well, yeah, I'm sure staying awake for a week, whatever like stresses were on their bodies and on their mind. I'm sure staying up for a week didn't help anything. Yeah. I think I need to get that guy's... no! Everything was going so well. We can finally do it. The Permanst. Hell yeah. Oh, is that a one use though? I don't remember. I don't remember how it works. Should do a week-long stream without sleep. Yeah, sounds like fun. Oh, for frick. The permanent stopper, I have to use it. It's consumable. So once I use it, it's permanent on that level. Unless I fall, I suppose. We worked all that time. How are you supposed to get enough points to afford this stuff? Never again. Let's just say that about... Although, I don't know. I feel like we know more about how Cool World operates now. Probably better than most. Like, who's actually sat and beat that game? I think we could do it. Go. I'm working on it, Ghost. You're not helping nothing. Oh my god. Yeah. Oh, but the second movie we watched last night was a new-ish horror movie. I think very new, actually. That The Curse of La Llorona? Lola Rona? I forget now. There we go. Which, by the way, I didn't know. I'm sure other people who pay attention know, but it's a Conjuring Universe movie. And I had no idea until Annabelle showed up. But I'll say this, because last night was a pretty fantastic contrast between old horror and new horror. And I'll say this, like, I'm not going to dump on La Llorona. I'm going to look it up so I know that I'm saying the right thing. Curse of La Llorona. La Llorona. I'm not knocking it. It was a perfectly acceptable modern horror movie. I wouldn't say it's anything special by any means. Try Llorona. Is that how it's pronounced? Like the two L's? La Llorona? Like that? Ah! Yeah, they say in the movie they say like it means the weeping woman. La Llorona. La Llorona. The Curse of La Llorona. All right. Now I know. Thank you. It was, you know, here's the thing. It's generic. It's really no different than any other, you know, than most horror movies of that kind. But at the same time, you know, I think, oh, also, this is a minor gripe, but, no! The movie takes place in the 70s, and they do nothing to convince you that it's in the 70s except, like, drive 70s cars. Like, the hairstyles, like, especially, I noticed the dudes. It's like, the people that make this movie have no idea how guys looked in the 70s, and they just assume women wore bell-bottoms, and that was the only difference. So that kind of irritated me, because I was like, you know, this detective guy, like, he has, like, a pencil-thin goatee, which he should have, like, a big if he's gonna have facial hair, he should have a big old 70s mustache, not a pencil-thin goatee. And then his hair was, like a tight fade. It's like, no. He would probably have, like a tight afro, but people weren't doing the fade in 1973. So that was, like, just a weird, lazy thing about it. He'd look like a bear. Yes, that's exactly what he would look like. Because that's how dudes looked in the 70s. But it was almost like they thought maybe, like, making people look 70s was, like, too stereotypical or too, like, would turn off modern young audiences. They would not like that people didn't look like how they think people look now or so. I don't know. No! I don't know the answer, but it bugged me. It made it feel like there wasn't care being put in to those kinds of pretty basic details. But here's the thing too. There's some really good. Well, the reason they said it in the 70s, and I thought the same thing, as the movie was going on, but when I realized that it was a movie that was set in the Conjuring universe, and it was linked to Conjuring and Annabelle and all this stuff, those movies all take place, I guess, do all of them, or most of them take place in the 70s. So that's why it's in the 70s. But I do want to give the movie a little bit of praise because it did have some really good, it had some really scary visuals. Not everything. Frequently the movie was kind of, I mean, like some of the ghost, like whenever you see the ghost's actual face, it feels like a straight to DVD movie. She looked really cheap and sort of Halloween costumey. But in the scenes where you don't see her face, she's got a veil on and she's sort of like at a distance. There's a really creepy moment where the mother confronts her, and it's just like a woman in a dirty white dress with like a veil over her face and just standing in the corner, and the mom is kind of hasn't completely accepted the fact that she's dealing with a ghost, and she's kind of treating it like it's a burglar, and she's terrified, and she's got a baseball bat and she's screaming at her like, "What are you doing in my house?" That moment, and the La Llorona is just standing there in the corner, not moving. That moment was genuinely very tense and very, very scary. So there were good moments in there like that. I liked really pretty much the whole cast. I think it was a good cast, likable. I think frequently if you have a charming cast, I think that buys you a lot of points with me. But yeah, it had some really, oh my god, it had some really solid moments in it. Sounds like my mom did a better job scaring me with La Llorona than the director did. Probably. It had its moments. It did. Like, I don't want to just knock it, but I will say this. I mean, it's a perfect example of modern horror. It's very predictable. They all have, like, the exact same structure. Oh my god. Like, with all these movies coming out, the kind of the ghost designs. Are you serious? All the way back down to the bottom. Well, that is cool to know, by the way, that because in the movie they say, that parents would scare their children into behaving by telling them that La Llorona would come take them. So it is neat to know that that is a real thing. Because obviously I'm super white and I'm from the Midwest, so we don't really have much for like scary legends like that. I'm trying to think if we have any. I mean, the indigenous tribes of the Midwest did have they do have a legend of a creature called the Wendigo, which I know has been made into several other things, but it is a real old folk tale or folk legend in native culture. It's basically like a Yeti or a Bigfoot, but if you see it, somebody in your family, someone close to you dies very soon. There's legends about, you know, just seeing, like, not even if it confronts you, but even if you just see it, you know, there's legends about just seeing it crossing a field somewhere and, you know, at a distance, and just seeing it brings misfortune on you. But I mean, at least La Llorona is like a legend meant to teach kids to behave, or to threaten children into doing what you want them to do. Wendigo is just like, hey, if you see a Wendigo, you're fucked. Now, where's your potions now? Gonna get this guy. You don't got your potions. Yeah, I think the modern Ghost movies are, you know, again, at no point did I think this movie is terrible. I think it's very watchable, but I kind of think that's all they are. Is it's like, okay, like I can sit and watch this for an hour and a half, and it is what it is. Didn't hate it, but it is, you know, horror especially kind of goes through fads and goes through different trends, and you know, a lot of the early 90s or mid 90s, and like there was a certain kind of horror. Then in the 2000s there was a very specific kind of early 2000s horror that you saw coming from Hollywood. And then it kind of, well, there was very specific, the straight-to-video horror of the early 2000s was very specific as well. But then it kind of, like, I don't know, it kind of made... I'm trying to think of what sort of... like that late 90s, early 2000s... like, I'm trying to think of what kind of style came after that. What was, like, the mid-2000s, you know? Ugh. Yeah, Blumhouse makes all the scary movies right now. That if you see it in the theater and it's a scary movie, it's like 9 out of 10 are Blumhouse movies. Yeah, Groovy liked Crawl and Ready or Not. But yeah, that's the thing, is they're more, I don't know, I feel like nowadays, like, if it's not, like, they don't get the fact that it's like, if it's supernatural, like, I think Hollywood thinks of horror as it has to be supernatural, or it has to be like a slasher killer. And that's like the only kind of movies that they think of. If you said horror movie, that's the only kind of thing they think of. Like, they wouldn't see Crawl as a horror movie. And they probably wouldn't even see Ready or Not as a horror movie. That's the weird thing. But that's see, like The Ring, when The Ring and The Grudge, I guess maybe that was kind of the mid-2000s. Maybe that's when that sort of took over. I do like those movies. I like that. I enjoy that era. Can I not? Oh, I do enjoy that era of horror. But yeah, I think now, it's like Rewind says, I think I think we are almost beyond being scared by just ghosts. Fine. I think it's very oversaturated. More than anything else, it's just... I think ghost movies are probably cheap to make. Which is funny, because back in the day, that's why there were a lot of slasher movies, because slasher movies were cheap, you know? Now it's like ghost movies. I'm sure there's like... Well, obviously Blumhouse just has their effects team, and they probably just have a million, you know, preloaded ghost effects ready to go. And they can just crank it out in a week. You know, once they get the footage, effect shots probably don't take that long. You know what I really liked was, because, you know, when The Grudge and The Ring and Shudder, when all those movies started coming out, I started watching the Japanese, the originals. And I'm not gonna say like, oh, it's better, it's worse. In the case of some of them, like The Ring, it was basically the exact same movie. So it really comes down to, are you a Sarah Michelle Gellar fan or not? Whether or not you're gonna like think one's better than the other. I remember a few years ago, they went crazy for those Oh yeah, that's the Conjuring movies. Yeah, the Ed and Lorraine Warren. That is this La Llorona movie. Is part of the Warren movie. They call it the Conjuring universe or Conjuring. I forget what they call it exactly, but it's that series of movies. Ghost movies, paranormal activity TV shows have been way... we're just bombarded by all of that stuff now. But I wanted to say... oh yeah, so I went back and I watched the original Japanese versions of all these movies. And the one that I thought was... Like, they're all perfectly fine. I'm not always a huge fan of, like, Japanese horror. It's another one where a lot of it feels very similar. So it's like they had, you know, especially back then, they had their own cliches, and, you know, like the spooky ghost woman with the hair in front of her face. It's like that's in, you know, there's only so many movies I can watch with that. But the original Japanese version of Shudder was really good, and I highly recommend it. I can't think of what its Japanese name is, but if you look up, and it's Shutter, like the shutter of a camera, like Shutter, not Shutter like the streaming service. The bait, and I don't remember what the American... I feel like the American one... Come on! But the basic plot of the movie is... Audition was a great movie. I own it. I never... Are you serious? I never probably need to watch Audition ever again, but it was a great movie. But the idea behind Shudder is that these friends, you know, a friend commits he self-terminates, and you know, they're kind of struggling to, you know, come to terms with it and figure out why he did it, because it didn't seem in his character. And there's kind of a lot of typical early 2000s weird things going on with, like, they're watching videos on his computer and, like, things are changing in the videos and, you know, there's that kind of stuff. But then the plot turns into this really interesting idea of that heaven, the afterlife, is full. There's no more room, as you might say from Dawn of the Dead, there's no more room in heaven and hell. It's too crowded. So basically, spirits are starting to whisper into everybody's ears. Because in, as far as I understand it, in Japanese culture, basically, just this, there's not a separate place for... There's not a separate heaven. Like, basically, the afterlife is just all around us all the time. And it's become so crowded with spirits. The spirits don't want any more spirits. So they're starting to whisper into all of our ears and basically slowly convince us that it's better to not exist than to die and go into the afterlife. So the movie becomes basically like an epidemic of people, like, just ceasing to exist. Like, sooner or later, this whispering in your ear will just be too much for you and you just don't exist. And then there's like a kind of like a black ashy outline, like on the wall where you were, and it becomes this thing of, like, you can't leave people alone for a second, because if they're alone, the ghosts will start whispering to them. And, you know, there's like a part where, oh no, I hit the wrong button. If you know, you leave your friend alone for a second, you come back, and, like, you know, like a second later, it was like they were on the edge and it was too much, and it becomes like an apocalypse because everybody starts disappearing, and, you know, like a plane crashes because, like, the pilot, like, the ghosts were whispering into the pilot's ears, and it's a really fascinating idea, really well executed. Has some really scary moments in it, and then even the parts that aren't scary are fascinating. So I highly, you'd have to look it up, but it's the original Japanese version of Shudder. Good Lord, we are making no progress. I mean, we're making progress, but we get knocked all the way back down and have to fight our way all the way back up. And then we get a little further, and then get knocked all the way down. At least we don't actually have to fight the bosses each time we go through, if we don't want to. Carnival of Souls is the old Carnival of Souls, right? I own it. It's one of those movies that I think it might be public domain. So it's always in those horror packs. But yeah, I should sit down and watch it. And yeah, I do love the first Saw movie. I can't say, I don't know if I really watched any of the others. Not that I can remember. But the first Saw movie was a solid movie. There we go. Dun, 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 dun. Ay, Chihuahua. Oh my god, I didn't even get my frickin' paddles up here. Yes! Come on, get up to the door! We don't even need to fight this guy, we just need to get up to the door. That's all we need. Oh my god. You're starting to piss me off. Really starting to piss me off. Got a lot of money, though. For all this grinding up and down. We do have a fair amount of coinage. We're going to hold off. We're going to buy the devil flippers. I don't know if we get to keep those, though. That's the thing that sucks. Some weeks ago, I bought Howard the Duck. Finally watched it yesterday. It was weird after all those years. The stop motion still holds up. Incredible work there. I'm kind of a Howard the Duck defender. It is a weird movie. And that's kind of what I like about it. I do recognize how deeply flawed it is as a movie. And I think it falls into one of those categories that, especially back then, was really hard to wrap your brain around, which is something that looks like it's for kids but isn't for kids. Like, that was a really hard concept to grasp back in the day. What's funny is frequently the opposite would happen, which is something that's I guess not the opposite, but you would have these things like RoboCop, which is incredibly violent, very R-rated, insanely bloody. Don't do it. Don't do it, you little shit. Okay. But those movies would get those movies would just get marketed directly to kids, and then maybe because once you see the movie, it's very obviously not for kids. Maybe that's why it kind of gets that some slack granted to it. But Howard the Duck looks like, from scene to scene, there are scenes that look like they could be just from a kids movie. But then it goes too far in other places. Like, it looks like it could be the first Ninja Turtles movie. But then it goes too far in certain places where, you see duck titties. It goes too far here and there. And that probably soured people who wanted it to be for kids, and then, or at least appropriate enough for kids. And then it kind of probably soured R-rated audiences because it was the parts that just felt like a kids movie. I don't know, but I like Howard the Duck. I will fully admit I like that movie. Remember being scared by Jones's character? That. Is this happening? Are we back? Are we not? Looks like it's working, right? Ay, ay, ay. Are we back? Someone tell me you see me. Where did that go? Ah. Anyone? Bex, welcome. Well, you're late. You're very late. But, OBS just crashed, so I had to restart the computer. So, unfortunately, we just kind of lost a bunch of stuff. Had a mountain of dishes. Oh my god. Me too. Well, I have a mountain of laundry. I have a hill of dishes. And I'm rearranging the VHS tapes in the back. So but you know what I did get? I got a new or second was not I can believe it. It's never fun. I don't know. Hello, everybody's coming back. So yeah, unfortunately I had to restart the computer because it wasn't. I think it's something more than just OBS crashing because like Chrome becomes unresponsive at the same time. So it's something slightly larger. I think it might be, I know I have some nuisanceware on the computer. And I'm starting to think that it's more than just a nuisance, so I'm going to have to dig into getting that removed. I know there's a process, but it's weird and complicated, and you have to like reboot your computer from a thumb drive and do all this special stuff, and I just haven't had the motivation to do it. But I wanted to say too, probably won't get a video up this. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. You know, obviously I do like preach that I like, you know, that having a schedule is important, but I think that's most important if you're live streaming, because people just need to feel like they can at least sort of count on when you're going to be around. I think with uploading videos, and you know, obviously always you just need to take care of the other things in your life first. That's a given. I think I don't think you should sacrifice anything for getting a video up. But yeah, so I don't feel. I used to be like that a lot with stuff where I'm like, I gotta do this and I gotta do this and I gotta do like, I gotta hit this hard and I gotta do this, and it's like, do it when you can do it. Don't sweat it. I wanted to try something real quick just because I got people here. I mean, I guess I don't. Just get your 2 cents, because I actually got specifically for the card, like the trading card unboxing, unpacking videos that I want to do, that I want to start doing. I really want. I needed a second webcam. Um, Hi. So I did get a second webcam off of. Uh, Ooh, it does look very different, doesn't it? Um, off of Facebook Marketplace. Hold on. I just kind of want to. I mean, they're obviously in very different uh, positions, but I kind of wanted to get a feel. And this is like the model down from my other webcam, but they definitely have a very different feel and look to them. Is that zoomed out all the way? Interesting. So, that really is. So it's not nearly as wide of an angle for one. It's kind of right in my face. I'm not thrilled about the way it handles light. The shine on my face. Um, that definitely looks nicer. But here's the thing that I like about this one. Obviously, it would be more at an angle like this. It would be more in the angle that the current camera is in. But here's the thing that I like about this one is it definitely has a is that a ukulele? It is a uke. I think this one's got a much sharper, it's got a wider depth of field. And you tell me, because I'm kind of watching on a little screen. My question to you is, like, when you're looking at this one, obviously don't take anything else into account here. All I'm asking about with this one is how in focus, like when I'm in focus and the background is in focus. That's what I'm most curious about. Like, is this better than this? Is it way better? God, this does look pretty cruddy though, doesn't it? I wonder if I can. If there's any way I can kind of get this looking a little nicer. I don't know. It might be just kind of how it looks. It's definitely got a much more digital feel to it, huh? So it would kind of need to be like, oof. Ooh, that's bad. Whoa! Yeah, that's tough. Like, probably right about there as far as. I don't know. It's not. Yeah, I mean, I don't think. Because here's the thing. I really want to be able to. Like, I would prefer. See, like, now look at. So you tell me how info. Like, am I as. Like, on the left is. Can you see the VHS tapes better? And is that something that matters? Because I like the idea that people can see the tapes back here. You know? But I think the quality might be too much of a dip down to really use it for anything other than like a B camera. Which is kind of a shame. I would definitely like you guys to be able to see the movies back there a little better. But I guess it kind of is. I think the right just has, it's softer. That's the thing, is I don't think either of them look like professional or anything. But the color is definitely a lot nicer. Oh God. So cold. He's kind of green, you know? It's got just that little hint of, you know, yeah, that is kind of coming across as a little green. You can't really do anything about it. It kind of is what it is, that tint. Because then you start getting too yellow. And neither one of them really look that true to life. I kind of got a little bit of a John Schnepp thing going today. And I don't know if that's a compliment. Well, I think we'll probably stick with the old camera for this, and then I'll use this guy for the left books. The left looks like a prison cell phone with clearer movies. The right looks softer and nicer, but blur. Yeah, and that's the thing, is I think, unfortunately, that is kind of the trade-off with these two. I think we'll probably stick with our main camera. I think we'll just keep it as is. I do have some idea. I do want to get back into doing occasional lengthy, like, individual movie reviews that are like pre-recorded and edited. And those I would go film against the wall. So I think that might be kind of everybody's opportunity to look at the wall. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm like scrunching them in. They're not like flat against the wall anymore. They're at a little bit of an angle and they overlap a little more. Prison cell phones are in high demand. That's very true. So yeah, we're going to do something to the effect of when we do, oh my God, when we do this, yeah. Eventually, there you go. What is that? Oh, it's a shadow. I thought it was like a big stain or something. When we start doing our card unboxing videos, we're gonna do something. We'll have some kind of setup like this. We'll have like, that's me in the corner. That's me in the spotlight, losing my religion. And so then we can like unpack things, and I can like show cards off. Obviously it'll be in focus. We'll like read things. It's going to be fun. Not going to lie. It's going to be super fun. So let's try to get perfect. So I might have to get a little more light on these cards. Although I suppose if this is the setup, we can just crank up the brightness a little bit. So we'll show off cards. I'll actually clean my fingernails so it's not disgusting to look at. Hello from Sweden. So that's going to be the idea. I think it's going to be fun. I'm very excited for that. We keep, unfortunately, missing Wednesday night live streams, so I do owe you guys a public domain movie night. But then once we do that, we'll probably do a card unboxing for our next video. Well, I guess we lost all our progress in Pinball Quest, so and we've got about 20 minutes left. So what do you say we play a little, I don't know. We could play a little Nightmare on Elm Street just for fun. You know what? We'll hang out, we'll chill, new camera, we'll be fun. Yeah, I think, and I'm glad we'll just goof around in some Dr. Mario, because I love Dr. Mario. And really at this point, I just want to hang out with you guys for, 25 more minutes. Is that the... Hold on. Isn't there like a color palette thing? Yeah. Much better. Yeah, I think those card videos are going to be a ton of fun. Fever. We'll start out at 0, just have ourselves a good time. Whoa! Oop. I was hitting the turbo button. My bad. So yeah. Oh, there's this might be a weird... You know what? This is going to be a weird game to play. This is going to be a weird game to play. Here. Now, technically, this breaks my rules, because generally my rules state that I play games that I own, and I don't tell anyone. That's why we're doing it as a secret to the end of the stream. I don't actually own this game. I don't own the cartridge. We were playing Pinball Quest, which I own. But now here at the end, just secretly, we're gonna play Nightmare on Elm Street. Because I watched Nightmare on Elm Street. Oh my god. This is the worst. I don't know if I've ever played this game before. Do I punch the flies? I do. Just like in the movie. And you collect bones, just like in the movie. And you jump on floating platforms. Get out of here, spider! I thought you said you were alright, spider. No, I thought you said you were alright, spider. Oh. I got spooked. I didn't get that bone. I assume these are like Freddy's bones. Lame. Oh, I didn't think he would hit me. Leave me alone! Ay. Well, how do I go down? It says to go down. Do I need more bones? Is there a certain amount of bones you need to collect? Probably. Because that's how games work. You gotta get the stuff. Oh my god. So you'll end in the news? What? So you'll end in the news tonight? What? Oh, I'm asleep now. I gotta get those bones. Oh, it's Freddy spiders. That's the last bone right there. Get out of here. Now there's nothing you can do. I got your bones, Freddy. Oh my god. Oh my god. They got me from both ends. There we go. That's what you need, the bones to move on. I get it now. I get it. Hold. Yep, everything's working. And it's like, it's so random because, like, I mean, on Monday we did a 4-hour stream with no problems. Never, I don't think, right? There was no hiccups in, like, the hardware. So I don't get it. The music woke me up. That knife is still flying through the air. All right. All right. Giant rat. No problem. And that's when I'm awake. There's that giant rat. So that seems weird. I feel like I can do this. Yeah, just like that. Just need to get the timing down. Am I gonna fight Freddy? Oh my god, instantly dead. Okay. Alright. Just punch him in the glove. Punch him. See, I do that flying Superman punch. See that? Nope. Nope. See, he'll lure you in with those short reaches. He's like, oh, I can't even get over there. Then he gets you. Freddy's a master deceiver. Come on. Ugh. Oh my god. Come get me. Ugh. How long do I have to do this? Ugh. Oh my god. Bunny! That wasn't your fault, Bunny. I could have hit pause. I didn't. I decided to just look over at the chat even though I was in the middle of a boss battle. That is on me. Get over here. I wish Scorpion would say it more irritated in Mortal Kombat. Like, instead of, get over here, he would say, get over here. Get over here. Like that. That's more how I imagined it. Yes. Get out of here, snake! Punch a snake in the face! Whew, we did it. Get over here! Like that. This game was really fun. A birthday party game for 4 players. I never liked it as much as a solo player game, though. Used to have the NES 4 score. Oh, God, they called it the 4 score. How embarrassing. Yeah, you don't see very many... How many games actually used the 4 score? Other than the claws, it looks like it's just wants a fist bump. Yeah, it's just... Come on, dude. Like, I don't have many friends down here. Just give me a solid, bro. Stupid snake. So how did Gauntlet 2? That is a good 4-player game. I used to play that 4-player on the Atari Lynx. Whoa, right over me head. Right over me head. Turns out I might be able to pull off a video today after all, Bex. Very nice. Thought the... Say that again? You thought... Oh, gotcha. The Pats. Can't remember. Now I lost my train of thought. Oh, I know what I was going to ask. How do you play this game 4-player? I assume it's... Is there anything like... like simultaneously on screen? Like, how does that work? I want those bones, Freddy. I'm coming for your bones. Looks like I'm in a Jackie Chan movie. Did Jackie Chan ever make, like, horror action movies, like, or spooky action movies? What's happening? Okay. Did Jackie Chan ever make a horror themed martial arts movie? That's what I'm asking. Oh, there's the last bone. Which is also the name of my erotic novel that I'm working on. It's very tasteful. Get out of here. I like that they're just like, I don't know, the knives are coming out of the pillar. Who cares? Good Lord. Freddy trademark is coming. It's also the name of one of my erotic novels. Oh, I thought the claw for a second was like an item I could get. Oh my god. Freddy. I wish in the movies he started saying the trademark after his name. Freddy's trademark coming. Or he'd be like, Freddy's coming. And then he'd go, Freddy Krueger is a licensed trademark of New Line Cinema. He would always turn to the camera when he would say it. Or not, or he would just never acknowledge it. But he would have to say it every time. Freddy Krueger is a sole property of New Line Cinema and all its subsidiaries. Any unauthorized use of a Freddy Krueger likeness is hereby decreed not cool, guys. We're gonna wake up. Okay. Billy in the house. Oh my god, Billy. Late. I mean, it's almost as though you want to sleep or something. Oh my god. It's too bad it'd be pretty hard to get the rights, but I'd love to see Nightmare on Elm Street, the video game, the movie. Punching Fly. Yeah, I mean, someone could make a fan movie based on this video game. That would be possible. I think if they ever remade a Nightmare on Elm Street, they should have that guy who directed Drive do it. Well, I'll tell you this. They will definitely remake... They will remake Nightmare on Elm Street. There's no question. Freddy is way too recognizable of a character to ever, like, just stop doing stuff with. I do think, though, that now would be a good time because they tried to remake it, and it was during the height of a certain kind of horror, and that certain kind of horror didn't really lend itself to a Nightmare on Elm Street movie that, like, the fans were going to enjoy. But right now, there's all this 80s nostalgia. There's a lot of horror movies or just movies that have like a kind of a cool throwback visual style. Not necessarily like Drive, but Drive is a great movie. But just the fact that kind of there is this wave of nostalgia, and for the look and the feel, and even things like Thor Ragnarok, and just that things are being allowed to be... Oh, what do we got? What's going on? One more bone somewhere. I think now would be a good time to do something with Freddy again. Set it in the 80s, I think, would be a smart thing to do. Can I not kill you? You're very strong. And handsome. One more bone, huh? I missed a bone somewhere. No, I didn't. Where's this bone you say that I missed? Did anybody see it? And now I'm asleep. Yeah, set in, like you just said, set in the 80s is the way to go. Talking about the Michael Bay. Oh yeah, those figures are awesome. I frequently almost buy them. I do have a Freddy's Dead figure. That I bought. I don't know. Oh, I see it. It's up in the frickin' cobweb. What is it? I'm sorry. I was not aware that we were playing Where's Waldo. We're playing... I wasn't aware this was a highlights magazine. And we had to find the hidden images. Unbelievable. Oh, and my reward is a fight. Oh, Freddy face. Freddy Snake face. Freddy Snake face. Oh, and his tongues come out? God, this is disgusting. And I'm an angel. Yes. Too many tongues. Also, the name of one of my novels that I'm currently writing. I got a lot of irons in the fire, as they say. Too many. Come on. Enough. Enough. So every time he bites, a tongue comes out. So we gotta keep these tongues under control. And I'm not keeping them at all under control. Does just his head hurt me? Like if I touch his body, is that a problem? Yep, it is. Or I just touched a tongue, I don't know. This is insane. I hate it. Classic LJN. Oh my god. We're burning through everything. We burned through like a whole... all of our lives. We burned through all of our lives in like 30 seconds. Because I can't do anything. All these tongues flopping around. Okay, we did it. Well, I hate to say it, but it is 11 o'clock. Which means that epic Freddy battle fight is probably going to have to be it for today. Why are there Frankensteins? It's only 9. Oh man, you're early, huh? So if you're, oh my god, so that means you have to get up at like 7 for you if you want to catch the stream. That is early. Elm Street High won't let me go in. Oh well. Well, we're gonna have to, yeah. I mean, hopefully, you know, the dream is like, this becomes my full-time job, and then I'm just here all day, every day. And then, you know, then we just party all the time. We're just Eddie Murphy, party all the time. But until that day comes, you know, it's twice a week for a couple hours. But that's also why I do a day and a night stream, because I know stuff doesn't always line up for everybody, and I want to give people a chance to hang out. Boulders falling from the sky, just like in the movie with Frankensteins and giant snakes. I mean, to be fair, there were snakes. Like eels. Can I go in this house? I won't go in the house. Oh, well. Oh, well. Okay. Let's, that's it. Thanks, everybody. Oh, man. Thank you, everybody, so much for coming. I will, you know, let's all just pray that nothing horrible happens on Wednesday to keep us from another Wednesday night stream. Get back on track a little bit. We'll do a public domain movie night. I don't know, Billy. I'll just head you off at the pass and say, I don't know if what we're gonna watch, but we'll watch something, and then maybe a week after that we'll do an actual like fun trading card unboxing video now that I got the second camera set up. Thank you, Bex, for that. Yeah, it's no fun, obviously. I mean, everybody's has to go through it, but it's no fun. But we're getting there. So yeah. Thanks everybody. I will catch all you alley cats on the flip side. Bye-bye.